I remember being so frustrated when I started watercolors because I didn't know how they worked. So let me save you some unnecessary drama. Here's 5 tips I wish I knew when I first started. I'll be talking about materials, techniques, and a mindset that helped me go from this to this. Tip number 1, add only equal or thicker paint to wet areas. So let me show you what I mean. Sometimes we want blooms on purpose. So I'm gonna just put some color on the page. And while it's still wet, I'm going to add some clean water. And we see these are watercolor blooms. Sometimes we want that when we're creating some snow scenes, or we want to show that the water has turned to ice, things like that. Makes great texture. But sometimes we create watercolor blooms and we don't mean to, and we don't want them. And we also don't know why it happens. For instance, why is this going to turn into a bloom right here? And why will this turn into a bloom? So as this turns into a bloom and this continues to turn into a bloom, let me show you how to avoid blooms and also why they happen. All right, so let's say you're putting down a wash right here and you want the wash to be smooth all the way across the page. Well, I can keep adding to this wash right here as long as I put paint that has the same consistency or has a thicker consistency than what I already put down. For instance, I'm getting more paint, and so there's not more water in my brush, but more paint in my brush. Get more paint like this, and look, there is absolutely no blooms from here to there because I was very aware of how much pigment I had in my brush. Now, if I was to add water and then dip water on here, I would cause a bloom because it's not the same consistency that's already down there. So remember, it needs to be the same consistency or even a thicker consistency to make a smooth wash across your page. One other thing to keep in mind is once your wash starts to dry, let it dry. If I come back in here now and try to add another color on top while it is drying, it can also cause a watercolor bloom. So I've learned to just be patient. Once you put down that first wash, let it dry, then you can put down another wash. This tip saves me from so many unwanted watercolor blooms. Tip number 2, materials matter. You could use a plastic palette. The only problem, it can tilt easily and it doesn't really clean very well. Or you could use a heavier plastic palette, which isn't gonna tilt, and this is only like $6. Then there are palettes made out of ceramic, so they're definitely heavy duty and they clean really well. This is also a ceramic palette, but it's just square and more flat. You can also use a deviled egg container made out of glass. This cleans up well and works just as good as the ceramic. This B watercolor paper is good for just practicing. It's cheap, you can buy it at Walmart. But when you're ready to actually make some paintings that you might sell or hang on a wall, then I recommend Arches 100% pure cotton. What's the difference between 100% pure cotton and 25% pure cotton? When I use this paper, the paint just kind of hovers on top of the surface. But when I use 100% pure cotton, then the paint absorbs into the paper really well. Not only is Arches enjoyable to paint on, but I find that it is tougher than most 100% cotton papers. I can put down tape and I don't worry about the tape ripping my paper later on. I personally love using cold press. It has a medium texture to it. There is a hot pressed, which has a smooth texture, and I find that to be a little less forgiving as the cold press. This is the tape I recommend. All of them work equally well, in my opinion. You got the Holbein soft tape, you got the frog tape, which is for delicate surfaces, and you also got the purple Scotch tape, which is for delicate surfaces. All of this tape will not rip your paper. Do brushes really matter? You don't want brushes that have hair falling out as you're using them. Now this brush is a Princeton Neptune Round 8. The hairs don't fall out. A good brush is one that can keep the tip sharp for a very long time and also absorb a lot of water. A lot of the nicer brushes will cost more, but you're getting a better experience. There are lots of brands out there that make incredible brushes. If you would like a video that talks about how to take care of brushes and what are the different types of brushes, then let me know in the comments. When you're first starting out, you might get a set of paint like this. This is okay for a little while. It can run out of paint very quickly. If you're going to start painting larger, this isn't enough room for your bigger brushes. That's why I recommend getting the twos. You can pour out as much as you need and create a big wash, whereas it's hard to create big washes with little pans like this. Not all watercolor paint is the same. Some paint is granulating. It creates this gritty texture. And so if you're trying to create a smooth blue sky, but you're using granulating paint, you're going to get really frustrated because you'll never be able to make that granulating paint smooth. Some paint is a staining paint. I used to use this yellow. Now I use a yellow that is non-staining. In fact, all the colors I use now are non-staining paints, which means they're very forgiving. I also use paints that are non-fugitive, which means they last a long time and they're not going to fade. Yes, a tube like this costs more money, but it will last longer and it's more enjoyable to use. So starting out, a set like this will last you a little while, but if you're going to take watercolors more serious, I recommend saving up and getting the tubes. One tube should last you about 2 years of a lot of painting. When I first started out, I got overwhelmed by all the colors. And I was like, what color do I use? Oh my goodness, there's so many options. And I found out you really just need the primary colors. And you can end up mixing a color wheel that looks like this. So having fewer colors, I'm not so overwhelmed. I either just need to add a little bit more blue or a little bit more red or a little bit more yellow to get the color I'm looking for. All the colors you see on the left side came straight from a tube. And the colors on the right actually came from these colors right here. I just mixed them and found that I could actually get those colors. Tip number 3, always use new paper towels. I learned this the hard way. I was painting some white clouds and using a paper towel that I had already used previously on another painting. And I was thinking, I'm being smart and recycling, reusing, and saving money. But what happens is watercolor reactivates when it touches water. So when I was touching the white clouds to just lift some stuff around the clouds, I was reactivating the red in my paper towel, and it was going into those white clouds that I did not want any red going into. Always get a new piece of towel when you're working on a painting. Tip number 4, I'm just practicing. That's the mindset that I wish I knew when I first started. When I'm a perfectionist, like a lot of artists can be, we tense up and we start to not paint the best we can because we're so tense. So keep telling yourself, I'm just practicing. Tip number 5, have a bottle of clean water. Since paint is costly, we don't want to waste it. So when I'm painting something and I really just need more water in the mixture, every time I go to get water like this, I'm losing some of the paint in the water. So that's why a bottle of water is helpful, because I can just add some drops into the mix right there and I'm not wasting that paint. Plus, I never have to worry about this bottle of water getting contaminated by the other paints I've used. This is always clean water. And these bottles are super cheap. This is a set of 3 for only $1.49. You can also buy one of these guys. It just soaks up the water and then you can put it onto your palette. If you want more tips or you want to follow my step-by-step tutorials, join my school watercolor community. Link in bio.